to the Mountainside Podcast. Our guest for this episode is my good friend Bryan Clark. He and his wife Jacqueline are the owner and operator of Denver's premier gun store, Bristlecone Shooting, Training, and Retail Center. It was great to sit down and catch up with Bryan today. We haven't had a chance to do this really since this whole pandemic started, and I really enjoy his company. He's a great guy. They run a great business, and I couldn't be more thrilled to have him on the podcast. I hope you enjoy the conversation as much as I did. Here we go. Bryan Clark, how are you, my friend?
Good, man.
Good, man. Thanks for coming in and joining me this evening, so we could record this podcast.
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm super excited to talk to you. It's not very often that we get to sit down together and have a drink and just BS, Normally we got families running around and we're catching each other in passing.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's great that you live here in town and, that we actually get to spend a little bit of time together.
Cool. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, man. How's life? Life's been good, or it's been a minute since I've seen you?
Yeah, man, life's been good. Crazy journey, especially over, the last 6 to 7 months, like anybody can relate to. But things are good. We're heading into hopefully a ski season that we can take advantage of. So
yeah, we got some snow pretty early.
Right?
Yeah.
Earliest since we've been out here.
Yeah, no, that's the earliest that I can remember. I guess I heard something in the mainstream media or from the weather guys that it's happened before, but I don't ever remember it really snowing until around like Halloween.
Yeah. I'm weird. I track that kind of stuff, so
yeah.
I keep it in my phone, and I was like, the earliest since we've been out here was October 2nd. So this is, that blows that away.
And it's crazy. The week before that, we were getting like 100-degree weather,
We were camping. We do a lot of camping, and we were camping this really cool new thing we found where you can camp at wineries, distilleries, breweries, even golf courses. They added to this thing. You pay like a yearly fee, and you just call these places up and say, "Hey, do you have a spot?"
Really?
And, yeah, it's free. So you can do that. So we did a little round Colorado trip. We went through Glenwood Springs, and then found a winery down in Olathe, and then down through Salida. And I mean, it was, 99 degrees. We were looking on my truck as we're pulling the camper through Salida. And the next day, we got 4 inches at my house. So,
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it dropped right off. I was up elk hunting, and I actually had to come out early for a family emergency. But man, it was crazy because it was so damn hot. I was like, It's too hot. It's the middle of the day. It's just not. It's not good right now. And then next thing you know, it's snowing. I went out, I don't know, a couple nights ago, and I was freezing my ass off, man. Just trying to sit there, underneath this tree.
Oh, for sure.
Deer hunting around here. And, archery can be a lot of sitting around, especially when you're on the animals,
Yep.
or a lot of quiet stalking. So you're not moving very fast. So you can get cold pretty quick if it's chilly out. So I think I called it early that night. I was like, it's 7 o'clock. I could still technically hunt for half an hour, but I'm going to pack it in, So, well, salute, man.
Yeah, man.
It's great seeing you. And how's business been? For people that don't know, and I know I'm going to drop this in the intro, but you run Bristlecone Shooting, Training. I'm going to screw this up. It's Shooting, Training, and
Retail Center.
Center, yeah.
Bristlecone Shooting, Training, and Retail Center. And Bristlecone kind of after the tree, if anybody knows the bristlecone pine. But yes, that's us. We're a full-service gun store, indoor range. We do training. We do just about everything that involves firearms down there.
Yeah, it's a great place. State-of-the-art everything, and top of the line. It's a really nice place. I urge you, if you're in the Denver area or visiting, that's the place to go, because you guys also do rentals too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got over 85 guns in a rental counter between any kind of handgun, any caliber you can imagine, up through rifles. We even do full auto rentals. So
Wow.
that's a lot of fun. We call it the giggle switch because I have yet to see somebody come off the range after shooting a full auto who's not giggling like a 10-year-old girl. So
makes you smile for
sure
sure.
does.
I've done a
Sure
few of
does.
those in Vegas. I haven't done it at your shop specifically, but done a few of those in Vegas. And I remember one time it was me and a bunch of roadie buddies, and we had like 2 hours to kill before we had to go to the airport, right? So we were like, let's go to a machine gun range. Not the smartest thing to do, because whatever those the gunpowder or explosive detections, they really work, man.
I bet TSA had something to say about that, yeah.
They acted like, it happens all the time, don't worry about it. But we set off some alarms.
I'll
that's
bet
for
going
sure.
through Vegas for sure, because people go to those places out there all the time. So,
Yeah.
And then hop on a plane or at least
And it's
try
crazy
to.
because you can just drop in and be like, yeah, I want the Rambo package. And it includes like a Tommy gun, an Uzi, a saw. I mean, like just all these badass military weapons and old school, like the Tommy guns are fun to shoot.
Oh,
man.
yeah. Some of that stuff, some of the kind of relic stuff or even World War II era stuff is just fun. You know, it's a good experience, and we've got one or two of those, and then we don't have a Tommy gun, which I mean I might need to put on my list there. Yeah, but we've got a P90. So if anybody plays video games or Call of Duty or whatever, that's one of those space-looking guns with a thumb hole, and that one's really fun because it's a bullpup. So it's really, really short and compact, and you don't get as much muzzle rise as you do with kind of a longer barreled automatic. So that one's a lot of fun because you can really control it a lot better, and people come off that one just going, yeah, I want more.
Yeah. It's hard to stop, especially when you get out like in Vegas and stuff, because you can just keep going to the next thing. Like, what do they have now? Like Battlefield?
Yes,
like you can go shoot
Vegas.
turret-mounted 50 cals and
Yeah.
all this crazy stuff. I haven't done that yet, but it's on the bucket list of stuff to do when I'm in town for sure.
For sure.
But how's business been? Have you guys been affected at all from this whole COVID thing or shut down?
Yeah.
You know?
So in the beginning, stuff was changing so fast. I mean, nobody knew what was going on. There was a new health order, it seemed like, every 10 minutes. So we were really scrambling to try to keep up. I mean, so my wife, Jacqueline, and I are the owners. And we don't have investors. We're not a corporate type gig. It is truly a mom and pop shop. We run the place. So every night it seemed like we were having a conversation after putting the kids to bed. What are we going to do? What's going to be our policy? How are we going to pivot? How are we going to, get the next thing in line here? And we just kind of made the decision that, look, we're going to follow the law. Whatever comes out, as hard as that's going to be for our business, that's who we are, and that's kind of the place we run. So that was difficult in the beginning because we got a lot of pushback.
Oh, it was changing by the minute, too.
Oh, absolutely, and we got a lot of pushback from our customers, from clientele, from people. Remember, this is a gun culture. This is a Second Amendment community.
Yeah.
These are don't tread on me type of people.
Yeah.
So to tell them, hey, you got to wear a mask, or hey, we'd like you to stay outside the facility because we're, limiting the amount of folks to come in and go out and whatever, was kind of a shock.
Not to mention,
system.
that they all have guns.
That too.
Yeah.
But so that in the beginning was difficult. That was a challenge to kind of overcome. However, it came with a silver lining. Sales. I mean, people were really concerned. COVID, plus then rioting. I mean, BLM, all this stuff that's going on out there really started getting people to refocus and go, wait a minute.
I had so many people that had never owned a gun in their life call me and be like, hey, what do you think I should go buy? Or, hey, what do you like people that were...
Try owning a gun shop.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I had people, I told Jacqueline, I said, listen, a bunch of people, honestly, people that maybe shouldn't even own a slingshot are coming in trying to buy guns. But the good thing is, they're also buying training. So they're buying classes.
Well, that's the great thing about you guys too, is you offer that. There's a lot of places that don't offer that,
Yeah, that's true. And
they'll just sell you the gun.
Yeah, and that was Jacqueline and I's philosophy from the beginning. When we got into firearms so many years ago, we always kind of said, listen, we're not touching a gun. We're not picking one up until we go get trained and understand what we're doing. Because neither of us came from gun families, traditional gun families. My family didn't own a gun, no hunting, no shooting in my past. Same thing with Jacqueline. So when we decided, hey, we're going to get a firearm for personal protection, home protection, all that stuff, we went training first. And we led with training and learned how to do it. And
I really think that that's how it should be before
Absolutely.
you can own one, honestly. I think that you should at least take some sort of online crash course or you have to take a hunter safety before you can go hunt a big game animal or hunt as a kid, So it should be along the same sort of lines.
So we teach our employees, and we kind of lead with that philosophy at the shop. People come in, we're really based in customer service. That's our mantra. That is our thing. We are female friendly, family friendly. We are not the camo wearing, tobacco spitting, record scratches when a female walks through the door type of place.
Right.
Those days are hopefully gone and dwindling. So we wanted to bring a new type of place to the Denver market. And I think we've been successful in that. And part of that is a very consultative sales process. What are you here for? Why are you looking to buy a firearm? What are you going to be using it for? Okay, let's get you.
How many times do you guys get lied to?
Oh man, constantly. That's a whole different conversation about the 110 pound female that comes in and goes, oh, I need a 44 Magnum.
Right.
And we go, really? Or does your boyfriend want the 44 Magnum? But yeah, so that's kind of the thing with us. So we made it a point in the beginning to offer training, and right now we have been lucky, and I have to give credit where credit is due. Jacqueline is the head of our training department. She has run that. She has built that department up into really an amazing assortment of instructors, teachers, classes, offerings. It's really something we're proud of, and we continue to offer that. And right now, it's going crazy. I mean, it's booming. We're filling classes. We're teaching. We've got instructors that we can't keep full. Let me rephrase that. That are overfull. We don't have enough instructors.
Overbooked.
Yeah, because people are clamoring right now to get knowledgeable, to get educated about. Hey, I never thought I'd have a gun, and now I'm buying one. So help me.
Right.
And that's what we're there for.
So have you seen sales drop off? I know there was a huge spike where there was lines out the door and then the governor shut it down for a couple days or something and deemed it not an essential business, and then it got turned back around, and it was just weird shit going on.
Yeah, weird communication. There was, inconsistencies within the Colorado government. You would go to one website and it would say this. Jeffco website would be 180 degrees contradictory. So one day I got a call from a health inspector, from the Jeffco Public Health Department, and said, "Hey, I understand you're operating an indoor range." I said, "Yes," and he said, "You can't do that." And I said, "Well, I disagree with you. You show me where it says I can't do that," and he couldn't. And I said, "So there you have it." And he's like, "Well, no, if you don't shut it down, we're going to come in." And then I said, "All right, listen, here's the deal. We'll shut down, okay, because you're telling me to. Other than that, you have no legal authority. I can't find any. I don't see any. You can't provide me any." And he said, "Well, I'm telling you now." I said, "Okay, good enough, right? Now I've got some sort of legal authority telling me to shut down. No problem." So we shut the range down. The retail from the beginning had always been considered essential. That was clear from all the orders, etc. So we kept that open. But it just happened to be, and I remember the date, right before the May 9th switch from stay at home to safer at home.
Right.
And so when the safer at home came out, I read it, and it was pretty clear. So I called the guy back up and I said, "Hey, just FYI, I'm looking at the safer at home order. I'm opening my range 9 o'clock Saturday morning." And he said, Yep, that sounds right.
Well, that's good, man.
So we were able to get back open and have been operating ever since then.
That's really great, man, because there's so many people that have just been mulled over by this thing, especially business owners and people that are in your situation where you don't have financial backing and stuff like that have been severely hurt, and the knee's kind of taken out from underneath him, especially like if you owned a restaurant or something. Or,
I can't imagine the hospitality industry right now. I mean, we're fortunate. You asked about sales, and we had that crazy spike in March. When the proverbial
I even bought another gun in March, and I didn't need one, but I was just like, it's a gun that I had always wanted, or it just came out a couple years ago, and I was in fear that if I don't buy it, I might not get it.
Well, you've hit it on the head, because we had that original spike in March, and it was a big spike, like you said, lines out the door, people waiting around hours to get in the shop, and just selling. Well, that can only sustain itself for so long because of the supply side of the business. Stuff dried up.
Yeah.
I mean, you walk in our store now, and we're operating on probably 30 to 35% of our normal inventory. Yeah. So what's good about that is whatever we get in, we're selling.
Right.
But it's hard to find ammo right now. Ammo is really, really dried up. It's hard to find rifles right now. Handguns are hit and miss. Right now we're doing a really good job of staying ahead of the curve and keeping the shelves stocked, not to the level they normally are, but enough to really keep us going. But it did dry up right into kind of mid to early April, and we had some white knuckle times, and just going, whoa. And then literally it just turned around again. And unfortunately, the bittersweet nature of our business is when there are tragedies, whether it be active shooter, mass shooting, something like this, these riots,
9/11,
unfortunately, the bittersweet nature of that is those often drive business. So they drive sales. It's an unfortunate byproduct of that type of incident, but it's a fact. And people will come in, and sure enough, it really turned around. And we've been kind of riding that wave. The demand is still out there. You laughed. Jacqueline and I were talking about, wow, this is crazy. These people are coming in, all these newbies, which is great because that's kind of what our store caters to. We really take care of first-time shooters, people that are nervous. We take that kind of mystique and intimidation out of the firearms world.
You make it comfortable to come in. Yeah,
that's the whole idea of the place we built. So that part was good. We were having all these people come to us, but I laughed when I finally got the phone call. I couldn't believe I got one of my good friends, about as left as you can get.
Yeah,
way over there on the left side, and he called me up and said, "Clark, I want a gun." I said, "That's it. Hell hath frozen over. we have reached the bottom." But that's an indication. People really
There was
started,
a couple people, I just told them, you should absolutely not own a gun until you figure out how to operate one. Because.
Well, he was funny. He goes, and I got, obviously, I have no idea. I never thought I would buy a gun. What do I need? Well, I said, come on in. We'll get you handled. We'll get you set up. So we went through the whole thing. He ended up buying a handgun from us, and a week later he goes, "Okay, now I want a rifle."
Right. And it starts, it does. It is.
Welcome to the addiction.
It's like tattoos. You
man.
can't just have one. It's like you got to have one for each purpose. Right?
Guys, I literally had somebody in my kitchen this morning, a Los Angeles comic, telling me that he's getting a gun. It was hilarious. And I'm like, if you talked to him a year ago, it just would have been a completely different story.
Right, absolutely. Well, we always say, Bobby, you were saying, it's an addiction. Our saying at the shop is, if you know how many guns you have, you don't have enough.
Right. It's very true. And, the CBI thing, too, is kind of crazy because they couldn't keep up with that. So you guys had to sell guns and then hold them for a certain amount of
that was nuts because, CBI was running, at one point we were, I want to say 11 to 13 days, before you could get your answer back. And we were running out of storage room. We were trying to, because you can't just throw that in a drawer. We've got vaults and highly secured areas inside the building where we keep the firearms in. So that was challenging, on top of the ever-changing legal, environment that we were navigating. And, so that was crazy. And then a huge spike in denials and in background check
Oh,
denials
yeah, I'm
because
sure.
the type of people that were coming in wanting these guns immediately were not the type of people that are going to pass a background check. So we had a bunch of denials, a bunch of stuff that, and that's work on our end on the back end because the gun's got to go back into circulation. You got to do the paperwork. You got to give them the appeal package. So there's,
Man.
yeah.
And how long does that process take to where you can put it back on the shelf? Like, because basically there's serial numbers. For people that don't know, on every firearm there's a serial number that has to be registered to somebody's name that is
Yeah.
tied to a background check. It's not just the Wild West where you can walk in and buy a pistol anymore.
No,
Yeah.
it's
Which is a good thing, I
It is a
think.
very good thing,
Yeah.
and it's a serious the most taxing part of owning the gun shop is the ATF compliance. This is federal law. Even though the federal law is allowed to kind of delegate, if you will, background checks to a state agency, some states do, like Colorado. CBI or Colorado Bureau of Investigation handles the background checks here in Colorado. Other states use the NCIS or the NICS system, NICS. It's the National Criminal System, yada yada. But firearms is still federally regulated.
Right.
Their states are allowed to pass their own gun laws, as long as they don't conflict with the federal. But federal law regulates the transfer of firearms. So we have an A&D book or an acquisition and disposition book. They call it the bound book. Everything's electronic these days, but they used to literally write entries into this book. And you get audited. The ATF literally walks in, flashes a badge, and goes, okay, we're here for an audit. Let's see your books. And you have to account for every single firearm that has come through your store.
Wow.
At any time. It is not,
So
hey,
how,
just
they
show
can
me
go 5 years back if you've been
7.
in business.
Yep.
Yeah.
They can
really.
go, I mean, they go, yeah. You're supposed to, by law, you need to keep your records for 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So they could come back and say, yeah, what happened to this? Where's the paperwork on that? Well, I mean, so in the audit is, it's nerve-wracking.
So what happens if your hard drive crashes? You just hope you got backups, or is it?
So
is it-
it's we got triple redundancy on the server side
Right.
and all that kind of stuff. It has to be because everything's electronic now. But yeah, literally. So when you get a denial, you've got to reverse that in the computer. You've got to put it back in. You've got to make sure that you've got the whole A&D side.
Man, that's a full-time job right there. I'm sure
It is. We've
Yeah.
got a compliance department, and again. Jacqueline, once again, it's what do I do at the shop? I don't really know. But she's also the head of our compliance department, so she handles, and she's great at it, because she's real detail oriented, and that's the biggest training challenge we have with new employees is getting them to understand the process, and more importantly, getting them to understand the importance of
Yeah.
the process.
It's serious shit, right?
It's very.
yeah.
That's our
Yeah.
license. I mean, that's
Yeah.
our livelihood on the line there, and some are better than others,
Right.
But we have our kind of bi-weekly staff beatings, and
right.
But they we've got a great staff right now.
No, you guys really
best
do.
we've ever had right now. So it's been great. They've been super hustling. I mean, it's been since that kind of midpoint of April again when things came back. They just been humping it, and it's a new normal for us, which is great. The challenge is dealing with that environment in a low inventory type of situation, but still maintaining our, sterling reputation for customer service, because that's what we are about.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the stuff that you guys do there. I mean, it's obvious you guys do retail gun sales. You have a shooting range, but you don't have just any shooting range. It's a state-of-the-art one. I mean, you guys have targets that turn.
Yeah.
So you can do time shot. I'm going to let you explain it more
Sure.
than me, but on top of all that, you guys do shooting competitions. So there's like leagues and stuff that goes on. You can actually be a member of your shop, correct?
That's right.
So there's a members only area where you get like a locker. I mean,
Yep.
There's just a lot of really cool stuff. And I think one of the coolest things that you guys do is all the training. And there's all kinds of different training. You guys do situational training, like where you're in a living room and setting up couches and
That's right.
and that sort of thing, which I think is a really good thing. If you're buying a gun for home protection, a lot of people don't think what's beyond that wall. It could be your kids. There's got to be I was fortunate enough to be around some special forces guys that kind of enlightened me on that, and I had never really thought about it. But they were like, "There's a line in the sand, man. You got to figure out where your family's at, which direction you're shooting, what's behind it. You got to, you know."
Yeah, and situational awareness is key. We teach classes directly to that point. You know, get your head out of your phone when you're walking down the street, right? Get your keys in your hand, not in your purse. Put your head on a swivel. I mean, things like simple eye contact will dissuade 9 out of 10 attackers. If you just go, "I see you," and I'm aware of you, you're no longer the sheep. You know,
right.
You're no longer the easy target. So things like that, and I think the class you were kind of alluding to is what we call our REACT or our shoot house classes. So REACT stands for recurring armed combatant training. And really what we do is we have a shoot house at the facility that we set up with the furniture, et cetera, and it's movable walls, movable furniture. So one scenario may be the living room, another one may be a convenience store, a third one may be a parking lot with a car, you know, those kind of things. And we use what's called simunition, which is basically advanced paintball. This is the paintball that the military and law enforcement trains with. It's shot out of a real gun, but they're paint marking cartridges rather than, you know, lethal. They hurt. Mm-hmm. They hurt a lot.
Sounds fun.
Which is good for the students that are going through the class because they know there's a pain penalty, which puts your body in a very close physiological state to what it would be in if you
Sorry, we got my dog in studio. It's not me, guys. I promise.
I don't know. But so that's a great kind of byproduct of that training is you're scared.
Yeah.
Fear happens. Adrenaline dump happens. You get tunnel vision, auditory exclusion, and we have seen some wacky stuff happen in that room. I mean, people lose it because they've never been in a situation that has been that stressful for them. But it's great training. And you have protective gear on, so when I say it hurts, it only hurts for us because we're the bad guys.
Right.
You know, we're the role players that get shot all the time.
I want to come play bad guy for an afternoon, man.
It's fun.
I always played the bad guy when I was, as a kid.
Yeah, but that's one of our more advanced kind of trainings. It's really great for anybody who's considering carrying. So if you're going for a CCW, you want to get a permit, and you want to actually carry, that is a great class because it's going to show you very closely how you're going to react in a real situation.
Yeah, I want to touch on that real quick with you too, not to steer off the subject and what you guys do as far as training, but I think a lot of people, I think it can be a false sense of safety sometimes, right? You think like, okay, I'm going to carry a gun to be safe, but then, you know, a lot of times there's places where you can't carry a gun into, like a movie theater or a church or something like that. So then what do you do with your gun? You know, there's a whole set of new problems that come along. Or what if you're going ice skating and your kids are crawling on you or something like that, right?
I mean, anything from wardrobe choices. I mean, things that are literally that minute, especially for women, you know. Carrying for women is a whole different ball of wax than it is for guys. You know, guys, we can usually get away with, you know, draping a T-shirt over it, you know, and then fall comes around and forget about it for the next 4 months. It's super easy.
Yeah.
But women, it's a whole different consideration. Tight fitting clothes, form fitting this, where do you put it? What's your access to it? All those things. But yeah, one of the things we harp on in all of our classes, CCW, the React Shoot House type class, is listen, guys, this is not the Wild West. As a matter of fact, when you come out of this class, one of the most common comments we get from students graduating that Shoot House class is, "Holy shit, I don't think I'm ready to carry."
Right.
That is one of the most common reactions we get from people coming out of that class because they go, "I didn't realize what goes into it." We do cover some law. We cover Colorado statutes. We cover what you can, what you can't do, what your mental state has to be, those kind of things. But one of the things we tell everybody is it's not a magic talisman. It's not going to protect you. And it's not a badge.
Right.
It doesn't give you any
Doesn't
authority.
protect you from
No,
law. If you
no.
shoot somebody, you're still going to have to go in front of a
Absolutely.
judge and explain
Absolutely.
yourself.
We tell them all the time. We say, look, in 100 different scenarios, in 100 different situations that you may encounter, pulling your gun is appropriate in maybe one of them.
Sure.
It needs to be the absolute last resort, and it needs to be 100% positive that you need to use. It's a tool. It is a tool.
Yeah.
Right? And you use a hammer for a nail, you use a screwdriver for a screw. A firearm is a tool for the appropriate situation. And honestly, 99 times out of 100, run.
Yeah.
Get out of there. Remove
Or
yourself.
don't put yourself in a bad situation. If you're at a stoplight, why do you have to pull up right behind the guy that's right there? I mean, leave enough room to where you can turn out if somebody's
Absolutely.
road raging on you,
Yeah.
or
I
just
was
certain
taught-
things like that.
I
You know?
was taught when I grew up, and I'm teaching my kids now because they laugh at me and they go, Dad, why are you so far behind the car in front of you? Because everybody else, they look around and they see these cars right on bumpers. I said, no, I was taught that when you stop, the car in front of you's wheels should be looking like they're sitting on your hood.
Yeah.
And that gives you about a car length and a half between you and that car. And one of the reasons is if the feces hits the oscillating device, you need to get out of town, You need
Right.
to be able to pull out and get gone. So little things like that, we're big into mindset and kind of understanding what you're getting into. I think too many people go, oh man, crazy, the world's gone to pot, I need a gun. Well, what are you going to use that for? What are you really saying? So we like to dive in a little bit deeper and kind of figure out, where are we going with this?
That's a great mentality and mindset to have, I think, is to really to make yourself aware of your surroundings and know the risks,
Yeah.
I think. And that's one thing I love about you guys and what you do. So
Thanks. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. You had asked kind of getting some more detail on training. We'd kind of gone down that little rabbit hole on the React stuff. But yeah, we do, basically everything. Like I said before, Jacqueline has really grown our training department to be full service. We now have, classes literally for youth. We have a youth league.
Yeah, I
that's
saw
been
that.
super popular. One of our great female instructors, who's also a 3-gun competition shooter, Colorado ranked, the whole 9 yards. She runs our youth department and has done a fabulous job with that. But so we have all the way from youth classes to even adult classes for, hey, are you a person who's never even touched a gun?
sure.
Come on in. All the way to, we have a tactical pistol and a tactical rifle series that goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and we literally have ex-Special Forces instructors that are there teaching you. We've got Navy SEAL, we have a couple of Rangers, so there are Special Forces guys there that are at that level that can really advance you all the way to the top. We've got move and shoots. We've got classes where we keep the enrollment down to a small size, and you may be 4 or 5 students.
And those are fun to do, man. There's a
Absolutely.
lot of fun to do that
Yeah.
on a timer. And
Exactly, and you're downrange. You're not shooting static again at at a booth shooting paper, that kind of stuff. You're moving, you're shooting moving targets. You're doing all kinds of stuff. In a lot of the tactical classes, you're getting down. You're on the ground. You're on your back. You're on your stomach. Because how many of us are sitting around watching TV? Ready to go.
Right.
No, it doesn't happen, right? So we teach the whole gamut. We have, intro to pistol and CCW.
Well, and the great thing about you guys too is I've seen you guys blast out before or whatever, and you guys don't do it all the time, but you offer some free training sometimes.
That's right. Yeah.
Just to raise some awareness, and I think that those little things like that could save people's lives. Generally,
we've actually had situations where people have come back to us and told us exactly that, those types of stories. We've done we do a free seminar series right now that it's just short hour, maybe 2-hour seminars with some sort of expert, whether it's one of our instructors or we bring somebody in. The legal one is real popular. People love to, okay, well, what am I not allowed to do? But yeah, we've literally had people come in, and whether it be paid, free seminars, whatever, and say, you saved my life.
Yeah.
Because they were in a situation, they were scared, they didn't know what to do, they came to us and said, well, I think I need a firearm. And we walked them through the process and said, wait a minute, do we really need a firearm? What's going on? B, if we do need a firearm, we need to understand that, like you said before, it's not a protector. It's not going to save you. You need to understand how to use it. But yeah, people that have come from relationships that have been bad and all it really took was, hey.
Just an outside perspective, huh?
Yeah, and literally in their situation, all it took was, hey, bad guy, whether it be husband, boyfriend, stalker, whatever, I now have a firearm, and I now know how to use it. And that's all it took. There's no confrontation. There was no shootout.
Enough, yeah.
There was no shootout or anything like that, but that's all it took.
You don't have to pull it out and point it at him just to let him know you got it.
Yeah, guess what? And I've been training, every day for the last 3 weeks. So
sure.
And like any bully, stand up to them, and they disappeared.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's been a great part of the business has been the training.
And that's what I love about you guys too, is it's not intimidating. And I urge any business owner that's in the outdoor industry, whether it's a fly fishing shop, mountain bike shop, gun store, archery shop, be nice to people when they come in. Treat them as your equal. Don't treat them like they're stupid. Help educate them, and it's going to make everything better, right? It's going to make the mountain bike trails better.
Yep.
It's going to make the rock climbing faces more safe so people aren't knocking shit off on you. I mean, it just trickles down no matter what kind of business you own. And there's
agree.
a lot of people that have moved into the state that don't really know what the mountains are all about. They're just learning it out. They're figuring it out for themselves, So
yeah, for sure.
So take that into account too.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said before, we operate on a very consultative, if that's a word, type of sales process where we really we tell our staff, if you are talking more than the customer in the first 3 minutes, you're doing it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be listening. You need to be asking pointed questions and listening. And then when you've got all those out of the way, start asking open-ended questions and let the customer ramble. You can learn so much by listening to what the customer says. And the other thing that does is it immediately puts the customer at ease. You're not looking down at them. You're not looking down on them. You're not
telling them
down
what they should buy.
You're not cramming anything down their throat. You're going, oh, cool. Because it's a very different situation, a single mother of two coming in and going, I think I need a gun for home protection, versus a 55-year-old man that comes in and goes, hey, man, I used to shoot guns when I was little, but I've been out of it for 30 years, but I kind of want to get back into shooting. Those are two very different lanes.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't listen, to what people want or are going to use it for, you're going to get it wrong.
And the cool thing also about your guys' shop, not to make this a full-on commercial about your Bristol cone, but
that's okay.
I love what you guys do. You guys have taken it a step further, and you have a shoot simulator there.
Yep.
So you don't necessarily have to pick up a firearm to learn something there. You could just come in and learn, right?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, that's one of our. So we have two virtual simulators, is what we call them. They're basically laser-based guns. There's a screen projected on one wall with just a multitude of different stuff, anywhere from kind of video game type stuff to carnivals. We use it to teach kids, balloon shoots, to more serious training. Where you interact with the screen and there's threats and things like that. And there's just fun stuff on there. But it's a great tool. Almost all of our instructors not only teach classes, but they give private instruction. 1-on-1, 2-on-1, 3-on-1, that kind of thing. And I'm going to go out and say 100% of them will utilize that virtual simulator on anybody who has any hesitation about going into the live fire range. They'll sit them in there. They'll usually go over all the safety stuff first. They'll work on things like grip, stance, sight alignment, sight picture.
And I've never actually done one. Is it your actual firearm that you're using, and you put a laser ammunition in it or something like that? Or
no, they're actually. So we tried that. In
Uh-huh.
the very beginning, we had a system. It was a CO2 cartridge-based system where you could use real firearms. They were notoriously breaking down. They were just not durable at all. It would be like 4 or 5 shots, and the thing, it was awful.
That's
So
frustrating.
yeah, so the technology, thank gosh, has progressed to the point where The guns are much more durable. The company that we're with is TI Training, and they're actually here in Golden.
Oh,
So
that's
they
good.
use us as a kind of a mutually beneficial situation. They use us as kind of a test pit, and we get a bunch of their stuff, and we get the first new guns, we get the first new software, all that kind of stuff. So it's
That's
a
awesome.
good relationship,
Yeah.
And those guys are, they're great, and they come right over if we have a problem, that kind of thing. But no, the guns they're kind of modeled after a Glock. Basically, but they have removable weighted magazines, that kind of thing, triggers, the 9 yards. But they shoot
So you
a
can do a
laser.
reload scenario.
Yeah, you can do reload scenarios, stuff like that. But it is not your own. It's not your own weapon that you're using. It's a gun that goes with the system. But even with that, the other things you can work on with the virtual simulator, like I said, anywhere from interactive type scenario type training to just fun. I teach one of our competition classes. It's called USPSA, or United States Practical Shooting Association is the name of it. And I use that in my class because it's a great way to teach people, target acquisition, time on target, time between targets, moving and shooting. So you're running around a classroom shooting at a wall with a laser instead of downrange, and I'm having people run around for the first time with a live gun in their hand. So
yeah, that can be nerve-wracking.
I like it much better in the virtual simulator, yeah, for sure.
And one thing that you guys do is you have pretty much somebody on the range that, I forget what you call it, is a range marshal or
range
a
safety officer.
Range safety officer, yeah, there you go. They're kind of keeping track of everybody, making sure that they're not crossing certain line. You guys are very safe when it comes to that. I've been in some gun ranges that are just kind of like, yeah, there it is, go for it, but you got the right bullets, it's like
that was one thing we were big on. So Jacqueline and I mean, tough duty, but we visited every range in the Denver area, to try to do market research and look at, best practices. Oh, I like how they do that. Ooh, I never want to do that. That kind of stuff. And one of the things we were kind of surprised at was the number of ranges that did not have live range officers or RSOs.
There's a ton of them.
On the ranges, and that was new to us. We started shooting. We used to live in Atlanta, and we started shooting in Atlanta, and we would go to a really nice range down there. A lot of the stuff we did was modeled after that range. So shout out to Sandy Springs Gun Club.
Okay. I'll have to check it out the next time I'm in hot Atlanta there.
Back then, I hope it's still the same, but it was owned by two women. Jacqueline had a connection with one of the women's, I think, cousin. If I got that wrong, sorry. But she worked with her, and so we started going there recreationally. When we got into guns, we fell in love with the sport and and so we would go date night and everything. This was before kids, and go shoot there. But they had a great place, and a lot of the stuff we did was modeled after them. But that was one of the things we were really serious about. We said, listen, I've been to a bunch of ranges, and when I first started shooting, I do remember feeling a little disconcerted that there was somebody looking over my shoulder. But as I started to progress, I was like, oh,
thank God they're there.
Yeah, thank God. It's like a
the
safety
guy
blanket.
next to you.
Yes.
You got to worry about.
Yes. Once I got a little more competent and I felt comfortable with my own skills, then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm glad they're there. Because you would get shooting and you'd be focused and, shooting down range, and all of a sudden, right next to you or something, maybe an RO or somebody would come in and say, hey. And you go, oh my gosh, I didn't even see that. Thank God he was there. We always have 100% of the time there's any shooters inside the range envelope. We have at least one RSO in there, just kind of checking on things. And the other thing is, honestly, it's there for our customers. You got a question, you've got a problem. God forbid something falls over the firing line, you can't go get it. Those kind of things. So they're also there for customer service.
No, that's great. And you guys also offer a ladies' night, right, or something like that?
We do. Yeah. So every Tuesday is Ladies' Day and Ladies' Night. So during the day until 5 p.m., range fees are half price, and then from 5 to 8, ladies shoot free.
There you go.
So, yeah, it's great.
New place to pick up chicks, huh?
Absolutely. What's funny is we get 95% are couples.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get girls groups. Maybe 95 is a little high, but we definitely get women's groups and groups of ladies that come in, but a lot of couples, because think about it. If your girl's kind of on the fence or really don't know, I don't know if she's going to like it or not, bring her in. You don't pay for her.
Hey, babe, I just got you this 44 Magnum
Yeah, right?
for Christmas. Yeah.
Let's go try it.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't like it? I guess I'll take
Yeah,
it.
right.
It's the bowling ball with Homer's name written on
Right.
it.
Exactly.
But yeah, so that's cool. I mean, when we look at the business, we kind of look at it in what we call 5 silos or kind of 5 centers. So we've got the retail, right? And that's anything from firearms, ammunition, accessories, belts, bags, holsters, storage, you name it. Magazines,
Customization, right? Because that's a big deal nowadays. You got to have the pink Glock, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or the orange one or whatever it is. you
Yeah,
know?
so that's kind of so retail is one. Obviously, the range is another sector or a silo that we do. We do have rentals, all that kind of stuff, and then we go to kind of gunsmith. So gunsmith is another center that we offer. So we have 2 full-time gunsmiths. Their shop is open 6 days a week, and they do everything. Anything you can imagine, and our one gunsmith is a certified Cerakote applicator, and Cerakote is basically a ceramic coating, hence the name Cerakote, that's like a paint job for your gun. He's
That's awesome.
done, I mean, man, look up it's Bristlecone, or Bristlecone Gunsmith, I think, on Instagram, or Gunsmith at Bristlecone on Instagram. Some of his work is amazing. I mean,
Yeah,
from
is
American
that you talking
flag
about?
to-
Yeah.
He'd do anything.
Yeah.
He did Jacqueline's hairdresser's gun. It's awesome. It is literally bright pink with bedazzled. Like it has rhinestones on it. I mean, it is fantastic. But
Right.
all that to, I mean, really cool stuff like battle worn patterns. He did a couple of Star Wars guns a couple of years ago that were super popular, that were crazy.
Wow.
They clean, they fix, they build. We actually offer 2 classes through our gunsmith. One is hey, how do I clean my gun the right
It's a
way?
great way, yeah.
And then the other one is it's a one-on-one builder's experience. So you and the gunsmith build an AR-15 from the ground up.
Wow.
Get all the parts, everything you need. You select it. You can buy it on your own, or you can have our help to help select what you want to do. And you literally put an AR-15 together one-on-one with the gunsmith. And when you walk away,
That's pretty cool.
That thing's a full functioning rifle that you built,
That's awesome.
which is cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Super
I
cool.
didn't know you guys did that.
Yeah.
Can we touch a little bit on gun laws just for people that don't know?
Sure.
If they're a first-time gun owner, like obviously you can't just be rolling around with it in your car loaded unless you have a certain license to carry, and then there's even protocol beyond that.
Sure.
What are just some of the real basic stuff? We don't have, I mean, because there's a million rabbit holes that we can dive down, like whether you're walking into a Walgreens or a church or whatever, right?
Sure.
But yeah, just there's certain places that you can't carry a gun. A lot of times those are posted on doors before you enter the place and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, quick disclaimer, I'm not an attorney. This is not legal advice.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, but basically, I mean, so in Colorado, a lot of places in Colorado, and people may not
Oh, look,
understand-
there's
There
one
we
of the
go.
Star Wars guns.
Yeah, look at that.
Wow.
Jeremy, nice job.
Techno gun
way
right
to find
there,
that.
Take that to the rave.
Yeah. Fantastic. Oh, look, there we go. Oh, there it is. Is that her hairdresser's gun? I
Wow,
think
that
it
is that's a Barbie gun right
It
there,
sure
man.
is. So for your question on laws, basically it breaks down to, Colorado is pretty permissive, other than the city and county of Denver and the city of Boulder. Those are 2 areas in the state of Colorado that have stricter gun laws. Other than that, even open carry is usually permissible, which basically means you can walk around with a gun on your hip. A lot of people don't do that, but I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, I even saw it in our bank once, which gave,
Really?
which gave everybody a little.
And just because it's that way, do not be expected not to be stopped by the police.
Absolutely.
They're going to check you out.
They're going to
man.
ask. They're going to check you out. They're going to see what's going on. But so if you don't open carry, if you don't want to open carry, right? Obviously, a concealed carry weapons permit, which is where CCW comes from. It used to be called CHP, or a concealed handgun permit, here in Colorado. But if you go down that route, then you're permitted to conceal the gun on your body. Okay, so you may not conceal a gun on your body if you do not have a CCW permit.
Correct. Yeah.
So if you do that, if you stash it in a pocket, put it in your waistband with a shirt over it, and you don't have a permit, you're breaking the law. But once you have a permit, you can conceal carry just about, a lot of places. One of the things you hit on earlier, right? Any kind of federal property, post office. A lot of people forget that.
Yep.
You cannot carry it to a post office. It's federal property.
Which is weird because you can ship a gun at a post office, but you can't carry one.
That's right.
So it's like, I don't know. That
Yeah.
that can be a bit confusing.
Well, gun laws in and of themselves are weird
Yeah.
and confusing. Let's get that out of the way. But yeah, so that schools, there's no gun zones. The other one that people kind of, not to get political, but kind of wrangle with, if you will, are private business owners are permitted to prohibit you from concealed carrying in their store. If they
Right.
post a sign that says you cannot carry in this store, you cannot legally carry in that store.
a lot of bars too and nightclubs, right? You're not allowed to.
Well, it's not a law that
Okay.
just because they serve liquor you can't carry in there. It's more akin to a DUI. You
Sure.
can have a gun on you in a bar. If you're drunk, you're breaking the law. So you can, if you have a CCW, I have a CCW, right? I carry 90% of the places I go. I can have a gun on. But if I am past .8 or whatever the legal limit is, I've now broken the law. So it's more akin to that. I think people sometimes get confused and say, "Oh, you're not allowed to have a gun in a restaurant that serves alcohol."
Sure.
That's not true. Cars is a big one. So people get confused about cars as well. So basically, Colorado looks at your car like an extension of your home. So you can drive down the street with a gun on the seat, with or without a permit. Why?
Yeah.
Why attract the attention? Why do that? Why be that way? Not a good idea. Long guns, doesn't matter if you have permit or not. They have to be unchambered. You can't have a round in the chamber, that kind of thing. But once, if you have a permit, and you conceal that gun, you're permitted to do that inside your car. As a matter of fact, you can do that without a permit. The problem is where you go. So, for example, I have a permit, but I got to drop my kids off at school, right?
Right.
So, two things. I have two choices. I can have the gun on my body, okay, concealed, pursuant to my permit, and knock it out of the car. If I drive around the drop-off line, drop my kids, and keep driving, totally cool. If I take the gun off, it has to go into a lockable compartment.
And they make a great. I mean, there's a lot of inaffordable lock boxes that
for sure.
will wire rope to the seat of your
Yeah.
car and stuff. There's a lot of safe ways
Absolutely.
to do that.
We sell a bunch of them down at the shop. Different
Yeah.
options, sizes, fast access with a code or biometric, fingerprint, whatever it is. So those are basically my two options, because if I'm on school grounds, you cannot have a gun on you,
Sure.
even with a permit. So if I get out of my car, even for a second, no go. I did have a funny run-in. This was a couple of years ago. I don't know if you remember, we used to have these big wraps on our cars, basically the big stickers, that you
I don't
see.
even think I saw those on your.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we had bristle cone shooting and all this kind of stuff, and they're big, orange, black, and all this kind of stuff. And one day, back then, Jacqueline and I were working a lot on the floor. We were out there doing shifts and helping on registers and range shifts and all this stuff. So I had my uniform on, and I had my my gun belt on. No gun, no magazines. I had left those in my console of my truck, but I got out with a holster on the outside of my clothes, and a guy called the cops.
Really?
Yeah, one of the dads did. And after I thought about it, I said, I can't blame him.
Right.
But it was funny. People see what they want to see. He told the cops I had a gun on and everything and all this kind of stuff. And it just happened to be, thankfully, I had a stainless gun that day. And the guy said it was black. He said, I saw it. So what the guy saw was my holster. But he said, I saw a black gun. He had a black gun on him. So sheriff calls. He goes, hey, what's going on? Da-da-da. I said, well, here's the deal. Da-da-da. And I said, you know what? Did he give you a description of the gun? And the guy said, yeah. He said it was just a regular, all black, kind of looked like a Glock. And I said, okay, well, here's the problem.
Yeah.
I said, I got it all stainless.
It's a nickel-plated
Yeah,
1911.
I said, it's a stainless steel Springfield loaded 1911. So it's, but, that was kind of probably stupid on my part, just inviting something, but back then we were just, I knew the laws, but I still hopped out of my truck, get the kids out of the truck with a holster on, and people kind of freak out. Just the other day, we do cash runs at the bank. Every once in a while we got to take the cash back for the drawers and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And I went in and I said, oh, man, wow, I'm open carrying, because we open carry in the shop. We actually encourage our employees to open carry. One thing I will say, if you're planning on coming to Bristlecone, we do not allow customers to open carry.
Okay.
You may conceal carry pursuant to a permit, but all other firearms have to be cased, boxed, bagged.
Yeah, I love that.
Like
Until you guys get to the shooting range line, I think that's a good thing to do, because you don't want people just wielding guns around in there.
Exactly. I want to be able to look out on the floor and make sure that anybody that's got a gun on their hip is working for the shop. So that kind of thing. But in any event, I walked into the bank. Security guard, who, this is new for them. I mean, with everything going on, this guy's brand new. I'd never been in there before. I was like, hey, what's going on? And his eyes immediately went right down to my holster, and I went, oh, yeah, it's in the truck.
Yeah.
And he was like, thank you for leaving it in the truck.
Right.
It's like, even though you're allowed to wear it, he's like, this is a bank. Now everybody has masks on, so he's
I know. It was the weirdest thing. I had to go into the bank. Crazy story. I never go into the bank. I'm like total digital money guy.
Yeah.
Which is probably the worst way you could be right now, with the whole conspiracy theory on that. But anyways, I've been wanting to get a set of kettlebells, and I could kick myself in the ass. I was going to buy a set before this whole thing happened.
Yeah. Oh man. Anything
and you can't find them.
And
Onnit's one of our sponsors. I've even called them. I was like, hey, can you, since you're our new sponsor, is there any way you can hook me up on kettlebells? They're like, we're dry. Unless your name's Joe Rogan, you ain't getting shit, And even then, we got to pull strings with wherever they're made, Indonesia or whatever the fuck. So anyways, Origin Maine is a U.S.-based company. They make like jiu-jitsu gis and stuff, and they make boots and jeans.
Yeah.
Really, really cool company. They make a lot of really great stuff, and it's made right here in the USA. But they started making these bags. They're leather bags, so it's basically like a boot material.
Yeah.
Right? And it laces up. But if you put certain things in them, like steel shot, you can get to 25 pounds. But the heaviest thing that you can put in is pennies.
Ah.
So I went to the bank and got $100 worth of pennies, which is exactly 64 pounds.
So you are the reason we're having a coin shortage.
There's no.
Yeah.
Actually, it was funny. The lady goes, you can only buy 1 or 2 rolls at a time, or you can only get 1 or 2 rolls at a time.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. And she said, well, that's on silver. Let me ask the bank manager if she's like, don't tell anybody, as I'm telling it on the podcast right here.
Yeah,
but,
right.
But yeah, she goes, what the hell do you need all these pennies for?
Working out.
You're right. But those things are awesome, man. If anybody's having trouble getting weight or anything like that, check out Origin Maine if you're into kettlebells.
Nice.
They have leather ones, and they're pretty cool. You just fill them up with pennies or whatever, and you can get different weights and that sort of thing.
Right on.
So I got to ask a little bit about your background and what kind of got you into how did you decide you wanted to become a gun store owner and teach people and that sort of thing? Was it just a passion or?
Temporary insanity.
Yeah.
No, so we tell this story all the time, and it's funny and a little bit embarrassing at the same time. But we, Jacqueline and I lived in Atlanta years and years ago. We were, young and dumb and professionals and thought we were pretty cool. But we lived in Midtown Atlanta. We had a condo down there, the whole 9 yards. But that was getting old, and we decided to domesticate. So we bought our first house, and we moved out to the suburbs, along with our 125-pound Rottweiler.
Jesus.
named Zeus, who plays a pivotal role in the story. So just remember him. So literally, no joke, first night in the new house. Boxes everywhere. Middle of the night, Jacqueline wakes me out of a dead sleep. 120% convinced somebody's in the house.
Really?
Shit. Rummage around, golf club. Walk over to the door to the bedroom, hand on the door knob, and went, nope. I don't think so. Locked the door, called the cops, right? Just something told me, don't become a statistic.
Right.
So we did. Cops got there pretty quick, 5 minutes. Meanwhile, remember Zeus? He's snoring at the at the base of the bed. So finally the cops get there. I go out. By this time, Zeus wakes up. He hears the doorbell. And I take him out there, and I open the door. 2 young Atlanta cops. And they're like, hey, did you call? They take one look at Zeus, one look back at me, and go, are you kidding? I went, listen, he might lick you to death, but he was the biggest baby. Great dog. But anyway, so they said, no, you did the right thing. Go back into the bedroom, lock the door, don't answer unless it's, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, whatever it is he gave me. Okay. Guns, lights come out, clear the house. Couldn't find anything. So we looked everywhere. No forced entry, no nothing. We can't see signs. We even went out in the backyard, looked around, nothing. So, you got him. I'm like, yeah, a lot of good he'll do. But, but you did the right thing. Anything happens, call again, that kind of thing. We'll send an extra patrol by, tonight a couple of times just to keep an eye on things. Okay, great. So, here's the embarrassing part. So a couple of weeks later, maybe not a couple of weeks, maybe a week later, we're out in the backyard, and the neighbor next door kind of comes over to the fence. Hey, I'm Bob, Oh, hey, Bob, nice to meet you. Welcome to the neighborhood, that kind of talk. And he goes, you experienced the black walnut yet? I said, the what? He said, black walnut. See that tree? The one that's over your house and over my house? Yeah? Well, if I remember right, that's the master bedroom. And it was a ranch with a pitched roof. I said, yeah. And he goes, well, those things fall, it sounds like World War III. And I went, son of a bitch.
So it's just
it was
the
a black walnut,
tree,
yeah. I was like, so that was a good laugh. We had a good laugh. And sure enough, a couple nights later, happened again, wind, and, knocking.
Sure.
We're like, oh, shit. But it got us into the conversation. What if, right? The what if conversation. Well, neither of us, like I mentioned earlier, grew up with guns. We didn't grow up in hunting families, that kind of thing. So we said, well, I didn't really feel comfortable with the golf club. So gun? Okay, cool. So like I said, we went, we led with training first, and we just loved it. We just loved it. We just fell in love with the sport of it. And like I said, before long, it was, Friday and Saturday nights, we couldn't wait to get to the range.
Right.
We'd hit the range, restaurant, bar, in that order.
Yeah.
And so it just became fun for us. And we started recreationally shooting. We started collecting different guns, trying different guns, going from, handguns.
You want another beer, by the way? You're dry over there.
Heck yeah, man.
All right.
Yeah, keep it flowing. I'll take one of the natives.
Yeah.
So that kind of got us started off, and then at that time, do not hold this against me. And like I said earlier, I may have lied. I actually was an attorney. But I was a real estate attorney at the time.
You must have been a cool one, though, because I like you. So.
Exactly. Well, I wasn't a courtroom guy, so
Right.
that's the difference. But so through my career, we ended up in Columbus, Ohio for a year. I was in-house counsel for a big hamburger maker you may have heard of, with a red head on the logo.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about.
So we went up there for a year, but my younger brother had moved out here to Evergreen several years earlier, and Jack and I fell in love with it. We came out to visit, go skiing. We said, someday, when stars align, the chips fall right, let's make it.
It's a pretty special place,
Oh, it's
right?
fantastic. So
Yeah.
so we did. We got the opportunity. Things kind of, went downhill with the redhead there in Columbus, and so we came out west, and I was looking for a legal job. Jacqueline had just given birth to our son, our second child, so she wasn't working at the time, and we came out. I was looking, to continue the lawyering thing. Got lucky, ran into one of my old buddies from the law firm at the Denver airport, and, was just like, Clark, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm looking. We just came out. I'm kind of taking my time. I had a nice little package, if you will, from Ohio. And he's like, whoa, you're not working? He's like, how'd you like to do contract work? He goes, I need somebody I can rely on, somebody I don't need to train, somebody that can just take deals and get them done. I was like, Yeah, let's do that.
Sure.
So I did that for like a year and a half. But during that period, we started looking for a range for ourselves, to continue our recreational hobby. And we started going around Denver, and man, we were spoiled. Like I said, that range in Atlanta, and then we belonged to a cool place in Ohio that was indoor and outdoor components, which was really cool. So we kind of got into shotgun there in Ohio, doing sporting clays and stuff like that. And we couldn't really find that gem here in the Denver area. And so we started looking around. And one day I got to get online. I got to check these places, and I found this place. Oh, 5
And being
stars.
a lawyer, you had to know the liability that was involved with this, right? So
Yeah,
I gotta
that's where
ask.
the temporary insanity
Okay.
comes in. Yeah. So we started looking. I found this place, 5 stars, best place in Denver. Great reviews, all this good stuff. So I went and I shot. I can't remember. Jacqueline, I think, might have been with the kids or something that day. And so I went by myself and I shot. And without mentioning any names, it was very underwhelming. Whether it was my expectations or what I had experienced in the past, I was left very underwhelmed. And so I came home and Jack, oh my gosh, how was it? Did we find our place? No. I said, geez. I said, Jack, I'll tell you. I said, if that's what people think 5 stars is, hell, you and I could do better.
So you did.
And 2 weeks later, I'd forgotten about it, I'm working, doing the law firm thing, doing the contract work, and Jacqueline comes down the stairs one day and goes, you got to tell me more about this range thing. I can't get it out of my head. I'm like, well, what? What are you talking about? She's like, well, you said, the week, and that little teeny kernel, here we are 7.5 years later with
Wow, cheers to that.
bristlecone. So
Shout out
cheers.
to Jacqueline.
Yeah. Right? Like I said, I don't know what I do there. I think she just runs it all.
Right. That's awesome. No, I'm glad you guys are in the area, and it's brought it to a whole new level, and I think you guys offer a great service. I highly urge anybody that's buying a firearm for the first time, stay away from these big box retailers. They're just going to sell you the gun and shove you out the door. Go see somebody like you guys that will actually give you some skills behind it. Know what you're buying. Know how to operate it and use it. Like you said, your intruder situation, which happened to be a black acorn, seems like it's typically most of the times the case with something like that. I mean, but God forbid. There was one incident when I lived in Redondo Beach, California, with my wife, and we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, really nice area, right off of Catalina, block off the water, to the Pacific, and just a beautiful area, pretty high end. And I think my daughter was just born. My son might have just been born, but we had 2 little kids at home, right? And at least one little kid.
Yeah.
And it's the middle of the night, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and the telltale sign in LA is the ghetto birds, so the helicopters start flying around, and they fly pretty low, and then you start seeing spotlights through your window, and then that sort of thing. But we had somebody that was running from the cops, and he ran into our yard, and luckily we locked our door at night, and we actually had a screen, like a metal door too, that was locked.
Yeah.
But I could hear him jiggling it, trying to get in, and I was so thankful I had my Glock, and I was just sitting on the couch, and I wasn't going to go out after him.
No.
I was just quietly sitting there, and the minute that he came through the door, I was thinking, I'm going to have to fucking shoot somebody,
Jeez,
But
yeah.
to know that my family was behind me in the bedroom and that I had that option was just such a peace of mind, because if it would have been another situation, you don't know what these guys have.
Man. Better than a 7-iron.
Yeah, and luckily the cops came swarming into our yard and chased him out of there, and he ran into the neighbor's yard or something. I think they finally got him, but I mean, you never know where it can happen.
No, I had a similar situation in Atlanta. I was in law school down there. Had 2 roommates at the time. They were both gone. I can't remember the situation. All I remember, I was there alone, and 2 a.m. Just holy hell, somebody beating down the door. I was like, geez, oh man, I thought it was one of my roommates,
Right.
drunk from a night at the bars, right? Forgot his key. But as I get closer to the door, I don't recognize the voice. Help, help, I need your help, I need your help. Help, help, open it up, open up. And so I peek through the curtains kind of on the side, and, he's holding his hand, claiming, I'm injured, I'm hurt, help, help. And I'm like, hell no, brother.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm happy to call an ambulance. I'm on 911 right now. And he left. I was like, yeah, my ass.
Yeah. I've got to travel around the world, and people use tactics like that all the time. When we were in Rome, we're walking down the street, and there's this lady carrying a baby, and she dropped it in front of us.
Gosh.
But it was a pickpocket ploy. It was a baby doll, and it was just like your natural reaction is to be like, oh, God, I got to go help. She just dropped this kid on the sidewalk. You know what I mean?
Like, oh, gosh.
Yeah. So, I mean, you see stuff like that all the time. So just be aware of your surroundings,
For sure.
What are some of the most common mistakes you think people make when they first buy a firearm? I mean, obviously, it's not probably education is probably the biggest. But is there any common things that you guys run into where somebody buys something and they trying to return it?
Yeah, for sure. So, number one, I feel like this is a Bristlecone commercial, so I apologize. But
it's all good, man. I'm glad you're here, and
Yeah.
I think this is valuable information for our listeners, whether you know everything about guns or not.
Yeah.
It's going to help somebody, I'm hoping, and that's what this podcast is all about.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're one of the only. I think we're still the only one in the Denver market that offers a return policy. Everywhere else, gun sales are final. You cannot return it, that kind of thing. But Jack and I came up with a 30-day no regrets policy because we do get people that come in, they buy a gun, they think it's the right one for them, even after having shot it. Because we
don't watch YouTube videos. Have you ever seen any of the shitty? Jeremy, you got to see if you can pull these up. But
YouTube is our.
I'm sorry to interrupt
Which
you,
one?
But dude, there are so many.
Which
Like
one?
I saw, look up like bad tactical shooter. Out of a vehicle, and there's this guy like just crawling around his truck with a pistol. It is hilarious. I mean, it goes on for like 15 minutes, and he's like crawling through the back window and like shooting under the driver's tire, and it's hilarious, honestly. But
yeah, it's. I mean, we actually say YouTube is like it's our enemy.
Yeah,
People
right.
come in all the time, trumped up on YouTube knowledge, and it's like, oh my gosh, how do we break this
deprogram.
down? Yeah, how do we break this down without going no? But so one of the biggest, like you said, education, right? You get in there, you got to get educated. But one of the biggest issues we probably run into is the boyfriend or husband coming in with the female. Or dad, or it seems to be, unfortunately, this particular combination. But people don't understand something about firearms innately. It's kind of counterintuitive. The smaller the firearm within the same caliber is going to kick more. You're going to have more recoil with a small gun versus a large gun in the same caliber. People don't understand that. They think, oh, big gun, big recoil. Well, no, and let me explain why. So, in a semi-automatic, for example, okay, that's a gun where with each trigger press, the gun will fire. And in the today's semi-automatics, etc., there's a slide or a portion of the gun that when you fire it goes backwards towards your hand to allow the casing of the bullet you just shot to fly out the side, and then as it springs forward, again, it picks up the next round or the next bullet from the magazine to chamber it, so then you can fire again. Well, Newton, right, taught us that every action has an equal and opposite reaction, right? So when the bullet goes out the front, the energy wants to travel backwards. In a semi-automatic, it's kind of a built-in recoil absorption mechanism in that slide. So it takes a lot of that energy. The bigger the gun, the more mass it has, the more it absorbs that energy.
sure.
If you have the same size
Physics,
bullet,
man.
physics, right?
It's that simple.
you have the same size bullet or the same size round, cartridge, what you want to call it, and you shoot that thing out of a smaller and smaller and smaller gun, you're losing that mass to suck up that recoil. So guess where the recoil goes? Into your hand.
Yeah.
And you feel it.
Or your face.
Or your face. Yes, there's plenty of those videos out there too if you want to look them up. So what we usually get is somebody who may not understand that, is not necessarily educated in firearms, comes in and says, "Oh, I want the little lady to have the little revolver right there, or the little teeny
the Glock 43."
Yeah, Glock 43 or something, really small." And we go, "Okay, so have you shot it?"
Yeah.
Because here's the deal, right? And we kind of explain it to them, and then we get the women finally out on the range, and we see a lot of slapping going on, What the, why are you telling me to get this little gun? I like that one, But that's a common mistake we see, is folks come in and go, "Oh, little person, little gun." Not necessarily.
Not really the case.
Not necessarily, yeah. The other mistake we see a lot is it's kind of the YouTube syndrome or the buddy syndrome. Well, I got a buddy, and he says Glock. Gotta have a Glock. Gotta be a Glock. I need a Glock. Well, okay. Well, what are you using it for? Okay. Well, okay. Oh. No, you don't need a Glock.
Right.
Here's what would fit you better, or here, now Glock fits just about everybody. They make a great gun.
I'm a big fan of them.
Yeah, man, they're indestructible.
Are you guys having Glocktober this year?
We can't.
Oh, shit.
I know, because of COVID, Glock is not doing any.
Okay, then I'm just
going to
come see you earlier.
Yeah, come see us. But so those are the common mistakes that they read it on YouTube, or a buddy has X brand and the buddy swears that's the only brand. So we do get a lot of de-brainwashing that has to happen. People come in, why I want to look at Glock. That's all. I want to see it. Glock 19. Okay, we show them the Glock 19. They put it in their hand. Okay, da-da-da. Well, let me show you something else if you're open to it. I don't know. I mean, he said Glock. Oh, no problem. If you don't like it, no problem. And then we put another gun in their hand, and they go, well, wait. Wow. I really like this one. Cool. Let's go to the range, and you can shoot them both. And they come out going, whoa, I don't like the one I thought I was going to like.
Sure.
And they're almost sheepish about it. You're like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. You don't have to buy the same gun as your buddy, as your husband, as your wife, da-da-da. Guns are extremely personal. They're extreme. It's hard to get much more personal. It's a tool, like I said, but it is a tool for you. It's not a tool for anybody else.
Yeah, they're like tattoos. Again, you shouldn't get a tattoo and ask your friends what they think of it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It doesn't matter what they think of it.
Exactly.
The tattoo's for you.
Exactly.
Same thing with guns. We tell people all the time, if you stay within the top 10, 12, 15 manufacturers who are making quality firearms that are reliable and they're going to function properly, after that, it becomes a matter of personal preference and fit. If you've got long, spindly fingers like someone I know, right?
Yeah.
A Glock 42 is probably not the best choice for you, right? You got big, fat sausage fingers, the stubby little things like that. An X5 Legion, which is a long, elongated, big handle gun, not going to work for you. So it's about fit, it's about comfort, and it's literally about which one do you like?
Yeah. I don't drive cars that I don't fit in.
Right.
Like, I can't drive Jeremy's 911 probably just because I don't fit.
Yeah. So those are common mistakes that we get, which are people coming in with some sort of preconceived notion.
Sure.
Whether they learned it on the internet, or a buddy's been in their ear, or an uncle or brother or somebody, and we go, listen, throw it all out, man. That's theirs. It doesn't matter what they do. This is we're talking about you.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense, and I think that's a good way to go into it, is just to be open-minded and figure out what fits your budget and yourself.
That's the other consideration is budget. I mean, we started a consignment program about 2 years ago. We really stayed away from it in the beginning, more honestly because I was scared of it.
Yeah.
And I didn't want people coming in and giving me hassle about, why didn't you sell my gun yet, and blah blah blah. And man, when we instituted it, and we researched, we looked at places like Play It Again Sports, all kinds of consignment clothing shops, and looked at all these different programs and how they ran them, and we kind of did a amalgamation, and kind of took best practices from here and there and kind of put it all together, and it's been wildly successful.
Really?
People are looking for quality affordable firearms.
Sure.
And most of these guns that are coming in, they're safe queens. You know,
Right.
whoever it
Barely been
was,
used,
yeah,
yeah.
man, I bought it 3 years ago. I shot the heck out of it for 3 months, and then I kind of got sick of it or tired of it, or I got a new gun, and that was the new hot shiny thing. So this one has been sitting in it's barely used. I mean, you know, a
Yep.
gun that's been shot for 3 months, what does it have through it? Maybe 1,000 rounds? That's
Yeah.
a baby, you know. So they bring us these great guns, and they go through a complete certification program through our gunsmith. They break them down, they take them, they clean them, they test fire them, they make sure they're function checked, everything, and they're certified. And then people can come in, and I mean, I've literally bought some off the.
That's cool. I didn't know you guys did that either.
So that's great. So our used gun inventory has been great, just because, you know, people go, oh yeah, I haven't really shot those 3 guns in like 4 years. Maybe I'll turn it into a new fun gun.
Sure. Yeah, that's awesome. So what kind of competitions are you guys doing there? Are you guys doing like speed shooting or any of those?
Yeah, we.
You're not. I mean, you're obviously not doing it off a horseback like Cowboy Cerrone over there.
Not so much.
Yeah.
We don't get into they call that sass shooting or whatever.
Okay.
But no, so we've actually kind of carved ourselves a little niche as the kind of premier indoor competition shooting range. We started two main competitions we run are our bowling pin shoot, which is a lot of fun. I'll talk about that here in a second. And then also USPSA I mentioned earlier. I teach that class, which is United States Practical Shooting Association.
Okay.
And then a third one we do is called it's the Glock Shooting League, or GSSF is the name of that league. And they're all different. So the Glock League is basically have to have a Glock.
You got to shoot sideways? Like, no, I'm just kidding. That's LA.
That's a whole different market. But so the Glock League is it is limited to Glocks, but they have different divisions, right? There's a pocket division, so the 42s, 43s kind of thing. There's competition, so longer barreled ones, different calibers, all that kind of stuff. But basically what it is, it's a target. Okay, and then there's some sort of course of fire. Put 5 rounds at 25 yards, and then the target comes into 15 yards. Okay, 3 more rounds at 15 yards within 3 seconds. Then the target comes to 10 yards, and and every time the course of fire changes or alters or whatever, and that's where you mentioned earlier our kind of electronic target carriers come in real handy.
Yeah.
We can have them come in. They can turn. They can edge, which is really cool. So
yeah, that's
you see
I've
the
seen.
target.
I haven't actually seen it. I need to come down and shoot on one, but it's really cool because they edge because
you can't see.
You can't hit it then.
Right. Yeah, and it'll
well,
pause.
you could, but you have to be a really good freaking shot.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's great, and we have them programmed for different. So if it's like, hey, if you want to work on holster draw and making sure you get out of your holster and up on target in a timely manner, safely. You hit on that earlier. We're all about safety.
Yeah.
Use program 3 if you want to do long distance type shooting. Use program 7 if you want to, kind of work on your transitions, that kind of thing. Program 5, But so that's Glock, and Glock runs each match, if you will, is a series of 3 competitions. We usually run them on a Friday night, 3 Fridays in a row. In order to place or get prizes, and a free Glock is one of the prizes.
Really?
Yeah. From Glock, you get a little certificate and all this kind of stuff, and you can redeem it with us, and then we order your Glock straight from them. But you need to compete in at least 2 out of the 3 in order to place or get a prize. You
That's
can do
cool.
you can do all 3. You're only increasing your potential for winning.
It's not like the bowling league where you get a round of beers or something, right?
No, not at all. So that's one, and then our bowling pins we started a while ago. It just became wildly popular. So we started with a couple of bowling pins on a table, and 2 shooters at a safe distance, right, with an RO. Or range officer, on their shoulders, giving them commands, making sure everybody's safe, that kind of thing, because you are downrange. You're not back at the booths anymore. You're downrange. We usually shoot it at a 12-yard distance for the bowling pins. And, it's a head-to-head competition. You got to be faster than the other guy. And if you are, it's a double elimination bracket system. And you go and there's a champion. So you get
cool.
three places. It's a $40, $20.
So you have to knock down the pin?
Yeah, so you have to there's usually multiple pins.
How much does a bowling pin cost these days?
Don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Free.
Oh, really? No shit.
They give them away.
No way.
Yeah, because they don't want to put them in their dumpster and pay to have them hauled.
Ah.
So we call all the bowling alleys around here and go, how many pins you got? They're like, what? They're like, we'll take them all. They're like, you will?
Yeah.
And I don't have to pay you? We're like, yep, we're sending a truck.
Awesome.
So we do that, and there's a handicap system. So if you're a beginner, you get 3 pins on your table. Versus an advanced guy, he's going to have 6 or 7 pins on the table. And it's a go, and whoever clears the table first.
Nice.
So more pins
That sounds
for
fun.
the advanced, less pins for the beginners, and so it's fun. And then it just exploded, super popular. Everybody loved it, and then we innovated. So we started going from that to what if we had 2 level tables with pins on the top and pins on the bottom? Oh, that's cool. And then wait, what if we painted one of the pins and you had to hit that one last? And what if we painted 2 of the pins? And that one's orange, and this one's red, and the red was the stop, and the orange was the go, let's make it.
Sure.
All kinds of stuff. And then there was drawing. So you had to get holster qualified first, but then you could draw on the go signal and attack the pins, and da-da-da. And then we had, we had 2-gun, which is
Have you ever
great.
had any famous or world-renowned shooters come in? Like, what's that guy's name? Jerry something that broke, like...
Jerry Micklick.
Yeah, he broke a record from, like, 1936 or something, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, just back
He's
in the
crazy.
80s or something.
You ever seen him shoot?
I've just seen videos of him. And,
he's-
Jeremy, if you can pull that up, it is freaking insane.
He can reload a revolver faster than I can reload my
What was his name again?
semi-automatic. Jerry Micklick.
It's
spelled like M-I-C-H.
Yeah.
I saw something with him where he was shooting a revolver, and I want to say it was like a 357 or something too.
Right,
It's
right.
not. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not a
not a
little
38,
caliber.
yeah.
And it was at 3 seconds, I believe, maybe, where he shot, reloaded the revolver, and
Shot again.
emptied it again.
Yeah, it's
and it
amazing.
was like accurate shots too. They were all within a 12
That's
ring
crazy.
or whatever.
And
he
now
went.
his daughter's doing it, and she's almost
Oh,
as good
here
as
he
he
is, right here.
Oh, yeah.
This shit is insane.
1932.
1932, yeah.
I mean, this guy is amazing.
Can you give us a little more volume, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Awesome.
In 108-degree heat, I believe it was, down in Mississippi in front of a very...
Look at this. This is definitely the 80s. Look at those
Dude,
glasses,
I love
man.
it. The glasses.
The necktie with
shorts,
the
everything.
collar with the buttons on it.
Is that a piano necktie?
Yeah. God dang, man.
8 shots.
targets in 1.06.
That is amazing.
Is this guy still alive, do you know? Or
I think he's still alive. I don't know if he's still competing, but I know
probably
his,
at a nursing home shooting
Yeah,
league
right.
or something.
I know his daughter is.
Oh,
gonna-
here's
look at
the
the
reload.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
That is fucking insane. Can you rewind that again, Jerry? I gotta
Crazy.
see that again.
Watch the reload. It's amazing.
God damn.
He like threw those bullets into
Right,
that.
right.
I've seen guys, like tactical guys, that can't reload a clip that
Oh,
fast.
for
I
sure.
mean,
For sure.
that is freaking insane, man.
Yeah. So we run the bowling pin, and like I said, it's blown up. We even do a 2-gun, which is really cool. So we take the bowling pins, we cut the heads off right at the neck, and then you just lay them back on top. And your first gun, you start with a 22. So handgun if you want, but most people choose a rifle, a 22 rifle, and you have to go and just hit the heads. If you hit the body and it falls over, you're disqualified. So you got to
Okay.
be accurate and fast, and you just knock the heads off the pins, and then you safely set that down on the table and go to your sidearm, which has to be a pistol, a handgun, and then clear the bodies. And it's the same thing, 2 1-on-1, double elimination
Man,
bracket.
Yo, this is
is
Jerry
awesome.
right now, dude.
Yeah, there he is. Now, he's
damn.
graduated
It's
to
2017. Jerry is not fucking around.
he's graduated to the
Jerry
3-gun.
upgraded to the AR-15 with 30-round clip.
Right, look at that thing. I love it.
That's cool. That's insane, man.
But so we do that, and then USPSA is super popular. Jeremy, I don't know if you want to bring up a video of USPSA competition, but it's all about moving and shooting. It started in the 70s. It was basically all based on, hey, let's take real life defensive scenario situations and make a game out of it. You need to run and shoot, right? Your kids are in the back of the house bumping the night. You got to collect your firearm, load your firearm, and run down the hall, get in a defensive shooting
That's
position,
so awesome, yeah.
and shoot from there. So now it's become this move and shoot, shooting.
I know,
moving
like,
oh, that's a good one,
yeah,
Jeremy.
okay.
Thanks.
God dang. You get shot in the head or what?
But so we do this indoors, and you make what are called stages and things like that. So it's super popular. People come in and I have a little section at the beginning of my class as introductions. Who are you? How long you been shooting? And why did you sign up for this class? And the answers are fantastic. So everything from, well, my husband told me I had to,
Right.
all the way to, well, it seems like a fantastic way to hone my skills, right? I'm tired of standing still and shooting at paper. I want to, because there's moving targets.
That's all good.
There's moving targets. You're moving. You have to reload on the fly. Steel targets, paper targets. You're running around. You're
It
ducking
looks like fun.
through doors, around barrels like this guy is here.
I follow Tim Kennedy. He's an ex Special Forces guy on Instagram, and he's always doing those. He's an MMA fighter and stuff
Yeah.
too, but he's always training, doing those sort of things at this outdoor
Dude,
range.
have you seen
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves do this?
No.
I did see that. It was when he was
insane.
training for John Wick, right?
Yeah.
It's
Dude,
pretty
Really?
cool.
He's a beast.
Yeah. If you go on Facebook, you can find some of our videos from our stages that we set up. And, again, we have doors. We have a swinger
I got to come
target.
down, and I got to need to
It's
spend some
cool.
more time down there with you guys.
Sure. But, yeah, so those are our competitions. And right now, there used to be a shop across town that would do the USPSA, but we are now literally the only indoor range doing USPSA in the Denver area.
Really?
There's a bunch of outdoor stuff in USPSA, but as far as indoor, we're it, man. So our matches are selling out 3 months in advance, and things like that. So, but super super fun.
That's awesome.
Oh, there's Keanu.
Is this Keanu Reeves?
Yep.
I don't know. It's cool seeing a dude actually out there doing it.
Yeah, he's actually, from what I understand, he's actually pretty decent.
That's
There he
pretty
is.
cool.
Right?
Bill and Ted.
I just think of Point Break.
Right.
The shit
Johnny
they
Utah.
pull, yeah. Oh man, good old Keanu. What's his next movie?
I think they're doing the the 30th anniversary of Bill and Ted, aren't they?
Oh
They're-
yeah, I
they're
thought I
doing
saw that
They're
or
doing
something.
a comeback, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, hey man, we've done an hour and a half. It's been
Right on,
great,
man.
and it flew by. I
It
can't
sure did.
I can't wait to come down. I want to come down and shoot with you sometime.
Absolutely,
It'd
anytime.
be awesome, you know.
Yeah.
So we just gotta work it into the schedule sometime. But me and Jeremy will be down there.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
at some point,
I'm coming with.
Yeah.
100%.
We are.
For
You know what
sure.
we should do is record
sure.
a podcast down there while you guys are doing
Why not?
some sort of event or something like that. Would be awesome.
That would
And
be totally.
We'll get
cool,
one of
yeah.
your instructors on, or Jacqueline, or somebody like that. Would be awesome. So you just let us know when there's something coming up, and maybe we'll come down and participate. And then
Yeah, for sure.
bullshit about it at the end.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do our USPSA matches every first and third Wednesday of the month. So those are always going on.
Awesome.
If you guys wanted to come down and see one of those, it is a little bit. So in order to shoot USPSA, you have to go through a safety course and get yourself
It makes
kind of
sense,
a
man.
safety card.
Running around with a gun,
Yeah, exactly.
loaded gun.
Right. That's why I like to say in my safety course, I don't go live fire right away because, man, I've had some people that, even with the laser gun, I'm glad they didn't have a real gun
Oh
in their
man,
hand.
you know, a common thing I think is when people go to draw and they pull the trigger, right? And if
Yeah.
you're wearing a chest holster or something like that, that could be bad, man.
Yep.
But yeah, tell people where they can find the shop. You guys are located. Is it Lakewood or?
It is. It's official.
okay.
Yeah. So it's Lakewood. If anybody knows, kind of where St. Anthony's Hospital is, or Lakewood Tower, which is a big business tower, we're right there. It's a block north and a block west of the Alameda and Union intersection. So the address is 12105 West Cedar Drive. But like I said, we're a block off of Union, right there on Cedar Drive, and you can find all you need to know on our website, which is bristleconeshooting.com.
Perfect.
It's bristlecone like the tree. So.
And you guys are on social media as well,
We
right?
are.
I know you have an Instagram page.
Instagram, Facebook, both us and our gunsmith. He kind of runs his own page and kind of shows off his work and stuff like that. But Instagram, we're at bristlecone shooting. I don't know if it's .com. I'm not a social media guy.
Yeah.
And then Facebook.
We'll put all
as
that
well.
in our show notes and stuff. So
Great.
if you're listening to this episode on Apple or Google Podcast, if you go scroll down to the show notes, there'll be a direct link to Bristol Cone Shooting if you're interested in going down there and checking out your shop or getting some training or
Yeah.
just go in and check it out, man. You guys are nice people. Some of the nicest
thank you.
people I know, and I think all your staff is too, and
Yeah.
you guys are very inviting. So I urge anybody that's getting into that world or wants to get into that world or just know how to use a firearm, just go down there. You don't have to buy one. You know, you can just go down and get the training.
Absolutely. Come in, check us out. I mean, I can't tell you how many people we get to come in and go, oh, wow. My buddy told me about this place, but I didn't know it was this.
I had no
And,
idea until
yeah.
I walked through the door the first time. So
Sure, yeah, it's
awesome.
cool. And recently, one of the big kind of milestones, if you will, that we just hit. So there used to be a shop in town called the Reloading Zone. So reloading your own ammunition is kind of a big industry that's popped up. You can really save a lot of money versus buying, kind of factory packed ammo. You buy the brass casing, you buy the primer, the powder, the projectile, and you put it all together in a press and all this kind of stuff. Well, the owners were retiring, so they were looking to find a buyer for their business, and two of our members actually ended up buying it. So they came to us and said, hey, listen, what a great synergy if we bring our shop to yours. Can we rent space in your building? And so, yes. So now the Reloading
So you guys
Zone-
are a one-stop shop. You do it all, basically.
we do it all now,
Yeah.
man. I mean, we call it the Starbucks and the Safeway.
Yeah.
It is a separate business, but they are now inside of our building, and they're all set up in there. So now we have factory ammo. We've got all the reloading supplies.
Cool.
Literally the Reloading Zone, which used to be, its own business, is now inside our doors. So come on down.
That's great. All right, Brian. Hey, man, I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming in, and thank your family for your time,
Yeah,
too, man.
Well, thanks for the beers. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
there's another one in here if you want one. We can hang out afterwards.
Right on.
All right. Let us know what we can do, too, to turn this into an indoor shooting range. It's a little short, but
you've got the acoustics already,
Right.
so.
I'm sure the lawyer next door would love that. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Go check out Bristol Cone if you get a chance. It's a great shop. Jeremy, you good back there, man?
Yeah, man.
All right. Thanks again, Brian.
Thank you.